to Ocala Talk on a Monday. Last Monday was July 4th, so even though it was the first Monday of the month, we didn't have the Ocala Police Department in because it was a holiday. So now joining us is Major Greg Martin from the Ocala Police Department. Greg, good morning.
Good morning, Tom.
How you been, brother?
Man, I've been good.
I'm glad to see you get home safe every night. That's key for you guys. I shocked the guy. I was in St. Johns County, 4th of July, Father's Day weekend.
Right.
I was in St. Johns County, and I was at the Ford dealership. They got a restaurant right next to the Ford dealership in the St. Augustine exit. So we were there eating lunch, and I went to the restroom to wash my hands and all before we ate lunch. And just come back out, there was a St. John's deputy right there. And I go, partner, I appreciate everything you do. Get home safe tonight. And he goes, that's one of the nicest things anybody ever said to me. And I go, well, I just want you to get home safe tonight. He looked at me and goes, well, I want everybody to get home safe every night. I said, well, that's you. But he was genuinely shocked that I had said something like that. And I know that right now we're in a time where, you know, there may be some people that have animosity towards the badge and everything.
Right.
But the fact that he was actually shocked somebody would say a nice thing to him tells me there's some people out there that may not like law enforcement, and you guys get inundated with that quite a bit.
Yeah, it's not very often you get someone that comes up and tells you thank you for what you do, but the bottom line is if you speak to most of the men and women that put on the badge and the gun every day, go to work, they don't expect that. They do it for a purpose. It's a purpose of service. But, just like anything else, there's bad cops.
Yeah.
Right? But when you look at the percentages, what's overwhelming to me is that there's not enough publicity and good conversations about all the great work that the men and women do that wear the badge every day, as opposed to the small percentage that doesn't. And when you look at like anything, McDonald's, Walmart, any job out there, you have bad employees, but it's not exploited, it's not exposed, it's not put in the paper because they don't wear a badge and a gun. So every day you go to work and you're required to make life-altering, life-saving decisions in instant. There's not a lot of people that
and you're not always the hero when you make those decisions.
You're not. You're not. But the bottom line is I'm so incredibly proud of the men and women that I work alongside, both at the police department and the sheriff's office, because, whether you like it or not, they all are willing to make those decisions for people. And sometimes they're tough decisions, and sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. But the bottom line is they're acting in good faith, and they're doing the best they possibly can on a daily basis.
The two stories I always talk about with the Ocala Police Department and the Sheriff's Department, and I don't know who was involved in one of them. I know it was a multi-agency thing. I remember you had a sergeant who she got caught on camera doing a great thing, but that wasn't her desire. Somebody photographed her, took a video of her. She eats lunch every day.
Yep.
She saw a homeless person.
Yep.
She went and bought her lunch, bought that homeless person lunch too, gave it to him, and asked if she could sit on the curb and eat it with him.
Yep.
And the homeless person said, sure.
Yep.
Now, somebody took a video of that, and it went viral, but that's the kind of thing that happens every day, and you never hear about it. Now, you hear about the Derek Chauvins of the world that put their knee in some guy's throat for 9 minutes, and, you hear about that plastered all over the news. You don't hear about this sergeant who, in the normal practice of her day, just got hungry and decided to buy a citizen of this community lunch, too. And the other one that brings me back is I forget who all was involved, but the incident where the young man, or I think it was a young man, was hanging on the fence above the interstate.
Yep, I was there.
And he got talked down by. You didn't have a negotiator on scene at first, did you?
No, not at first we did, but we called one in. But there was good communication on that. What it all boils down to is that, and this actually is a good lesson for people that are listening. When the stories are broken, the majority of these outlets only want to break the immediacy of the story, whether it's accurate or not. They just want to break it.
They don't care. They want to be first.
They want to be first, right? And they don't care if the facts are correct or not. But the majority of all of these stories that are put out for law enforcement, they're going to show you a 20 or 30-second segment of a 25-minute video. And yes, a lot of it is unfortunate. A lot of it exposes some bad behaviors that need to be corrected. But you're right. I remember both those instances. I remember both the people that were. I was actually at the one on the interstate when the guy was hanging off the fence.
Literally hanging off the fence
on the interstate, and the men and women on the scene that day were able to establish good communication, figured out what triggered his memory to distract him from what he was looking at, and it got him to come down, and it worked out great. It doesn't always work that way, but
lady in traffic that looked like somebody.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, when people, what I hope in the future and now is when people see these stories, they understand that that is just a small segment of the story. And if they're interested in finding out the facts and the truth and research it yourself, may not change your opinion, but at least you'll have a better understanding of how they got to where they are and how things ended the way they did.
Yeah, I remember one incident the sheriff's department had to deal with where a dad, they had a video of a dad showing up on scene of a traffic stop and then the dad getting arrested and everything. And, it was a 30-second video, but if you know anything about video, which I own video company, Brick City Creative Group, if you know anything about video, you can recognize a fake pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they make good deep fakes, but, just the average person, you can recognize the average person making a fake. And they had edited this video where you never saw the dad spit on the cop. You never saw the dad take a swing at the cop, and it looked like the cops had done all the bad things.
Yeah.
So your point's well taken that make sure you do your research and everything because, 30-second snippet. That's why I love you guys.
Yeah.
Y'all release body cam video, the full video. And, maybe it's an hour and 8 minutes of video, but watch the whole hour and 8 minutes.
And, another good learning aspect of this for our younger generation that loves Snapchat, Instagram, and social media is before you, however old you are or whatever you do for a living, decide to make a comment on a post, you better research it because you are going to get shared and copied to thousands of people that will see your response. I try to teach my kids when you are impulsive and you don't think about things, you don't research things, you have to understand that if there's 1,000 people that may agree with you, there's one person that won't, and that one person may be the one that's going to share it to 1,000 other people.
And see it, exactly.
And see it. So, it's important. There's a lot of people out there that enjoyed, their whole lives revolve around social media, but I just, when I see something like that, I'm always quick to research it to figure out the facts of the case, whether or not it's being reported accurately or not. And obviously, I stay away from social media.
Yeah. Well, like Herm Edwards said, the football coach, don't press send.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you what, man, I as in the rank of major, and especially moving up through the ranks, there's one thing that Greg Graham taught me is when you write an email and there's emotion attached to it, read it, delete it, read it, delete it, read it, let it sit for 24 hours before you send it. Because once it's gone,
it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah. So I'm getting better at that.
Yeah. Once it's gone, it's gone. Hey, speaking of gone, school's gone.
School's gone.
School is out, which gives working parents time to pull their hair out because they still got to go to work. Yeah. So school takes up 8-9 hours of a kid's day. Now they got all this free time and all. Yeah. This is one of those times where yesterday the storm was going on. I said we need to shut the garage door. My wife goes, "What do you mean we need to shut the garage door?" I go, "It's raining." She goes, "Nothing's getting wet or anything's not blowing in the garage." I go, No. I remember when I was 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
And, I walked that oh, wait, I was a convicted criminal. But anyway, I know a little bit about being a 15, 16-year-old with no free time on hand.
Right.
We would ride around in the rain looking for open garages because the rain would mask the noise. And people would steal things during the rain and everything because people aren't suspecting that people will be out during the rain.
Yeah.
When kids got free time on their hand, you got to expect that they're going to be kids.
Yeah.
And so what can we do as a community because it happens every year. You guys face this every year.
There's nothing more dangerous than a juvenile with free time on their hands.
100%.
Whether it's just doing stupid stuff, which all of us have done as a kid, me included, or whether it's just them venturing off to be around the wrong crowd and breaking into stuff. So, every year around this time we have spikes and burglaries. Primarily, the number one thing we can all do is, as a parent, and the majority of parents in today's world have to work, especially with everything that's increasing on a daily basis. But it's just to have your finger on the pulse of your child, figuring out when you engagement in activities and getting them involved in things. But more importantly, from your own well-being, is just lock car doors. The thing is, a majority of all of our burglaries we have in the city and the county, I know I'm speaking on behalf of the county, is just if somebody walks by and grabs your door handle and it's locked, they'll just keep moving on.
Well, one time you came to my show, Common Sense with Tom Schmitz, and I did it at Power Plant Business Incubator.
That was just a couple of years ago, right?
Right. And you actually brought in stats one day that that summer, you'd had 129 break-ins in a 3-week period of cars, and out of the 129 cars, 127 of them were unlocked.
It's still true to this day. 90%, even higher, of all of our break-ins are unlocked autos.
To the point where y'all put traffic signs up.
Yep.
You put those flashing.
I did. Boy, I took some heat on that. But we had
lock your doors.
I got a lot of heat on that. The chief came up to me and said, "Really?" I'm like, "What, chief?" He goes, "Really? We have signs?" I was like, "Hey, I don't know what else to do."
There was a sign on 3rd the other day. There was a sign on 3rd Street the other day on the east side that said, "Remember to lock your doors."
Exactly. And I don't understand it. I always lock my doors. I lock everything. I don't trust anybody. I lock everything. It's simple. Lock your door. And let me tell you why. It's like, we have a lot of people that come in have firearms taken.
Yeah.
And I know the chief may have touched on it in the past, but, a couple weeks ago we had a juvenile that got shot, accidental shooting, where they were bored, sifting through their mom's room, found a gun and thought it was unloaded, and he got shot in the neck. Obviously firearms are a big deal. We want to make sure that people are safe. We want to make sure people understand gun safety and how to properly secure things. But, we can all start by just locking a door.
Right.
And that'll probably reduce the majority of our problems.
8 kids a day
Yeah.
are shot by family fire.
Yep.
Which means guns that are in the family that aren't stored correctly, aren't put away correctly.
Yep.
8 kids a day.
Yep.
Just multiply that by 365, and that's almost 3,000 kids a year shot from guns that are just family fire.
Yeah, so if you're out there working, God bless you for working your tail off to pay your bills, but just keep tabs on your kids. I was joking around with my son the other day because I have Life 360 on my phone, and can you imagine if we had Life 360 for your parents back in the day when we were kids?
No.
So it's unfair. It's unfair advantage for parents today on their kids, but you have the ability to figure out where your kids are and what they're involved in, and whether it's summer school or some type of activities, athletics, golf, soccer, sports, camps, whatever it is. But when you wear them out throughout the day and they're exhausted, then they'll stay home. But it's just it all starts at home, right? It all starts at home. So just keep your kids busy.
When you say an uptick, like couple percentage points or double-digit percentage points?
No, well, knock on wood, we've been in a pretty good decline. I would say decline with violent crime, but every year historically, property crimes always increases. When I talk property crimes, thefts, commercial burglaries, property crimes, burglar residentials, burglary autos, they always increase. And primarily the majority of our focus during the summertime is juveniles.
Right.
Every summer it's juveniles. I won't put a double-digit uptick, but I can tell you historically when we look from a week-to-week basis, you can go from 7 to 9 to 10 burglary autos a period to easily over 20-25. So you could double that number during the summer, especially if a kid gets bored in the middle of the night, he can pull 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 25 door handles in the middle of the night. So, but the other thing that we can do is understand how to prevent those things from happening as well, with proper lighting at your homes, keeping bushes cut down where people can see your doors. Also with the convenience and the flexibility now with camera systems. Back when they first came out, you're like, I can't afford that. I can't afford that.
Now they're very inexpensive and they're high tech.
They are the best, the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
To arm your house.
How many people have been caught because of Ring doorbells?
Listen, Ring doorbells. Thank you, Ring doorbells. Ring doorbells are phenomenal. I'm telling you right now, it's the number one deterrent you possibly can have. That if people know that you have surveillance around your house.
Now they have such good. Like we went and installed around our house. We went and installed 4 motion detector lights.
Right.
That come on if slightest thing. a rabbit gets in the garden gets lit up.
Right.
You know, it's great motion detectors.
Right.
Everybody goes, yeah, but then you got to run the extension cords and.
Man, not
It's the
anymore.
Sunshine State.
Not
Mine
anymore.
are all run
Solar
by
power.
solar power,
Yeah.
and they work great. I got a front porch that when it lights up, you would think the sun's out,
Yeah.
and it's motion detected.
Yep.
And look, anytime a burglar goes near a house or anything, a light pops on,
Yeah.
they immediately think somebody might be in the house. Time to go.
They do not want to be seen.
No,
They do not want to be
they
seen.
wear black for a reason.
They do not want to be seen. So, yeah, lock your it was funny. Well, it's not funny, but there was a Ring doorbell that captured a person that locked their car doors but left their sunroof unlocked or open. So that you can see the subject climbing out of the roof of the car. I guess they just forgot to do that. But, yeah, I mean, it's convenient. They're out there, and if they say they can't afford it, reevaluate it, because I guarantee.
And now
when
you don't
see
have
it-
to pay. You know, before not only was the system expensive, but then you had to pay for somebody to monitor the
Not
system.
anymore. You
No,
can-
no, you can monitor it on your phone.
You can pull them up on your phone.
You don't
can
have
check
to have
everything out. Yeah.
you don't have to have any of that.
Oh, yeah.
You can have it on your phone, and then when it comes up on your phone, if there's an intruder, there's a button on that phone.
You can record it.
You press record on
Yeah,
that,
yep.
and then hit another button right on the screen,
Yeah.
and it calls 911 for you.
Yeah.
You don't even have to go to your phone to call 911 or anything.
Oh yeah. So we're I don't know, it's you know, the city of Ocala has invested a tremendous amount of resources into making sure that our citizens in Ocala are safe by installing cameras. I can't tell you how many crimes we've solved in the downtown area, hit and runs in the parking garage, robberies, fights, where we're able to capture it, go back and review it, and identify cars and or people and make arrests. So it's extremely beneficial. So
Let's switch gears for a minute because I need to ask you something because you've been a part of the planning numerous years for these events, and so you have a unique perspective on what you could offer with how it could even happen. We do the Light Up Ocala every year.
right,
We do the Christmas parade every year.
right.
FAFO's downtown every year, takes over 6 blocks. There's a lot that goes on, large groups of people that gather in downtown on a regular basis for special events. I'm not talking about just weekend traffic.
Right.
I'm talking about for special events.
Right.
Like, say, a 4th of July parade.
Yep.
I know that at Light Up Ocala, the only people, if I see movement on a roof, I know that movement 9 times out of 10, or 999 out of 1,000,
I was going to say you better
or
go high.
9,999 out of 10,000.
That's probably better.
Okay?
Yeah.
That the only movement on any rooftop in that area during the special events are the police department.
Right.
Man, how does a gunman get on a roof in a downtown and shoot up a 4th of July celebration?
So, you know, one thing that I'll say is that you have to look at community for community for community. The one thing we are very fortunate in Ocala is we have great relationships with our business owners, great relationships with our community. But the one thing we don't take for granted is the safety of our community. So it's unfortunate you have situations like that. But if I had to bet or guess,
It would never happen here.
right? Well, no. Well, I mean, you look at Uvalde.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's what they would
That's
say.
what they were saying. It would never
It'll
happen
never
here.
happen here. And what happens is these, you know, we have a very forward-thinking chief. We've had it in
We
the past.
always think it could happen here.
Correct. So with our current sheriff and our current chief, we don't take anything for granted. So if I had to guess, they've probably had that parade for years. It's probably a town that is like, oh, they know everybody. Hey, Bill, Judy, Bill, they all walk in the stores and know everybody. And those are the cities, you know, they call soft targets, hard
Right.
targets, soft targets. That's a city that probably would have never in a million years ever suspected something like that happened. But what they don't understand from the criminal mind aspect of is when you have people that are looking for soft targets, looking for areas that they've researched, that they've looked at, accessibility to roofs, etc. Those are the places they're going. Now, is there something deeper rooted into that? I don't know, but yeah. So but what happens? You have that knee-jerk reaction. Years ago, or I wouldn't say years ago, a few years back. I mean, our Light Up Ocala, we used to have all hands on deck. But when things started erupting nationwide, our chief was like, "We're not waiting for anything. We're going to make sure our people are safe."
Right.
Which includes having law enforcement on roofs, doing canvases a week before, setting up different cars, cameras, making sure we have coverage. Those things are the number one priority, so that way when our folks, our citizens of this community want to go to be somewhere, they're going to be safe. Because I can tell you right now, Light Up Ocala, and for anyone listening, Light Up Ocala, the Christmas parade, every single employee at the police department, every sworn officer we have, vacations are denied, and they are working those nights, both extra coverage on the road and having every other officer.
Because safety is that important.
It is 100% important. That's the reason why people move here. That's why people love to be here. So we take those things pretty serious, and we plan for those. We plan for the worst case scenario no matter where we're at.
I mean, I remember, and people go, well, when was the first time you saw police on the rooftops? The first time I remember seeing police on the rooftop was when the vice president, hopeful, was it Rand Paul? Was that no, the guy from Wisconsin. Anyway, that came here for the he was on the ticket in 2012.
Right.
And they were running here, and he came into town. Paul Ryan. When he came to town and everything, I remembered, but I'm sure that was the Secret Service coordinated with you guys and everything. But that's the first time I remember it. And so every time after that, I would look up during special events. And I guess it's been happening before then, because that wasn't the first time it had happened. Yeah. But I noticed now, and if you look, you could see every now and then where a police officer's at or something. But I feel, I wouldn't go. I had heard horror stories about Light Up Ocala. You don't go downtown. It's the crowd's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the safest environments I've ever, with that many people. Because I grew up in Atlanta, and it's a place in Atlanta when I was a teenager, where if you went around 25,000, 30,000 people, there was going to be a stabbing probably. There was going to be, and that is non-existent here. But it's because you're saying proactive, not reactive.
Yeah. So years ago, we'd have some occasional issues during the evening hours of Light Up Ocala with some juveniles fighting from time to time. But just to go back to your first point, I've been at the police department since 1996, SWAT team in 1998, and we had people on the roofs back in 1998 during those events. Now, it wasn't as a larger scale event for us, because at the time Light Up Ocala began, it's evolved into a very, very, very big event. City takes a lot of pride in that with the light up and everything. But yeah, it goes back to being proactive. If you're in a city that's mainly reactive, you're in trouble. You really are. And that is you have to ride that fine balance. When you want to be proactive, sometimes when you have a large number out there, they try to figure out, are we being overreactive?
Can I hold you on for 5 more minutes after the break? We got to take a break. We'll be back after this timeout. More on Ocala Talks.
USA Radio News with Lance Pride.
As the Made-for-TV January 6th committee continues, Trump advisor Steve Bannon says he will testify at a public hearing after he received a letter from President Trump waiving executive privilege. A wildfire in Yosemite National Park that's threatening some of the world's oldest giant sequoia trees has triggered evacuation orders after growing fivefold over the weekend. The Washburn fire started last Thursday and has burned at least 2,044 acres by Sunday evening. Nancy Philippe, a Yosemite Fire Information spokesperson, Sunday.
It looks pretty scary, and we're going full force on our suppression tactics.
Elon Musk, SpaceX, launched 46 internet satellites and landed the returning rocket on a platform at sea Sunday night. The launch originated from California's Vandenberg Space Force Base. We are USA Radio News.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
Before I started taking Balance of Nature, I was so exhausted, and they found nothing wrong. Everything was good, just no energy. For years, I was so worn out. Well, I want to tell you, Balance of Nature has been so good for me. I'm 84 years old, and I feel like I'm 30. I want to scream with happiness. I feel like I'm 30 years old now. So I want to thank Balance of Nature for everything, because this has been the best thing I've ever done.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code USA.
You're getting ready to move and you work hard. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. You need pros. Trained professional moving experts to do the heavy lifting for you. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. They care about your things as much as you do, and they do it fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
Two Men in a Truck.
You know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Join Gary and Don Crawford of Pinnacle Retirement Advisors for Retirement with Pinnacle, Saturday mornings at 9 to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Don't miss Retirement with Pinnacle with Gary and Don Crawford, Saturday mornings at 9. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.